Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. And for all my continued followers, I want to say thank you. And this is an opinion-based video channel where I try to open your eyes and ears up to some of the travails and tribulations that take place throughout our cities, our states, our country, and sometimes around the world. And I got a story for you straight from Connecticut, where if these allegations are correct, what a stepmother did to her stepson allegedly is one of the most inhumane scenarios I have ever heard of, and it took place over a 20-year period. So let's get into this one. This is unbelievable, and it displays every scenario of inhumanity or inhumane circumstances that you could even think of. So let's go. Connecticut woman accused of holding stepson captive for 20 years appears in court. A Connecticut woman accused of imprisoning her stepson for nearly 2 decades and subjecting him to starvation and relentless abuse is set to appear in court to face charges including assault, kidnapping, and cruelty. This is one human being to another. Kimberly Sullivan, 56, was arrested on March 12th and has denied any allegations through one of her attorneys, Ionis Kalotis. Sullivan was released on a $300,000 bond. He was not locked in a room. She did not restrain him in any way, attorney Kalotis said. She provided food. She provided shelter. She is blown away by these allegations. Sullivan plans to plead not guilty, her attorneys have said. At a hearing recently, the state gave notice to Sullivan's attorney that it planned to file a motion to modify the conditions of her release, and her attorney was given until Friday to respond. Judge Joseph Schwartz asked attorney Kalotis to delay entering a plea for Sullivan until then. The case came to light after a 32-year-old man who told police he had been held captive for over 20 years. Last month, he set fire to their Waterbury, Connecticut home he shared with Sullivan, his stepmother, and what authorities described as a desperate bid for freedom. On February 17th, emergency responders arrived at the burning home to find Sullivan and her stepson, police said. While Sullivan escaped unharmed, the man who suffered from smoke inhalation and burns required medical attention. The man later told police he intentionally started the fire in his upstairs room, explaining he wanted his freedom. An arrest warrant obtained by CNN affiliate WFSB detailed years of what the man described as captivity, abuse, and starvation. When police arrived, they found the man severely emaciated, weighing just 70 pounds at 5'9" tall. His hair was matted, his teeth were decaying, and he appeared dirty and disheveled. 33 years of law enforcement, this is the worst treatment of humanity that I've ever witnessed, Waterbury Police Chief Fred Spagnola said at a news conference on March 13th. It's really hard to talk about still. Tracy Vallerand, 52, speaking outside court on Wednesday, identified herself as the biological mother of the man. That's Tracy Vallerand. Vallerand gave up custody of her son when he was just 6 months old, she said. I thought he was going to be with his father where he would be safe. That didn't turn out to be the case. I was not expecting him being locked in a room, she added, noting that she had searched for her son on several occasions over the years, but didn't know where the father and Sullivan had moved to. She didn't know her son's current location or condition, she said. When he is healthier and he's stronger, if he wants a relationship with me, I'm right here. I'm not going anywhere, she said. And here's the grim existence, allegedly. The man's account outlined in the arrest warrant paints a harrowing picture of life inside the home. He said his confinement began when he was around 11 years old. He said he was locked in a storage room with additional locks added over time, surviving each day on just 2 sandwiches, egg salad, tuna, or peanut butter, and a small amount of water. By his teenage years, he said, he was constrained to his room 22 to 24 hours a day. To relieve himself, he devised a makeshift funnel to direct urine out of the window using straws, according to an affidavit included with the warrant. This sounds like solitary confinement in a prison. The man's allegations trace back to his early childhood. He said that by the 4th grade, he was scavenging for food at night, prompting Sullivan, his stepmother, to lock him in his room. Eventually, he was removed from school entirely and was only allowed out to complete chores. The man stated, it got to a point where the only time I was ever out of the house once his father died was to let the family dog out in the back of the property. And that was only for about a minute a day, according to the affidavit. Despite 2 wellness checks by the state's Department of Children and Family Services and police visits in 2004, the alleged mistreatment went undetected. Authorities reported finding a home that appeared to be clean and lived in, according to Spagnola, and no further action was taken. In January 2024, the man's father died, leaving Sullivan as his sole caretaker in 2004. And in January 2004, the man's father died, leaving Sullivan as his sole caretaker. According to the man, Sullivan's control over him grew even more restrictive. Now remember, Sullivan is the stepmother. About a year ago, he discovered a lighter in his father's jacket, which became his means of escape. In February, he gathered printer paper for kindling, hand sanitizer for fuel, and used a lighter to start the fire. After years of alleged captivity, abuse, and starvation, he said he finally saw a path to freedom. Search warrants later revealed plywood and locks on the door to his room, corroborating his account of confinement. This is what the police found, that there was plywood and locks on the door. So his account to the police, and when the police went and did a search warrant, corroborates what this young man is saying. Now recovering at a medical facility, the man faces a long journey of physical and emotional healing. There's a lot of physical therapy that he'll have to go through. There's a lot of healing that he'll have to go through mentally. So there's a lot of physical therapy he needs, and a lot of healing mentally. Waterbury officials have pledged support for the man as he begins his recovery. We're committed to supporting him in every way possible as he begins to heal from this unimaginable trauma, said Waterbury Mayor Paul Pernaruski. What a crazy story, if this is at all true. So here we go. Kimberly Sullivan was a stepmother. She was married to this gentleman's father, and the father passed away. And then, unfortunately, things took a turn for the worse between the stepmother and the stepson through these allegations. And I've been following several stories over the last couple of years that I've been doing this YouTube channel, where you're hearing about mothers holding their children captive. I did a story about a mother who was an attorney in Michigan who held her disabled child captive and starved him to death, and he died. And she got charged and convicted of that crime and is serving over 20 years. So this is not something new. There are many stories of one human being taking complete control over another. Generally, it's a child. definitely somebody younger than that perpetrator. And this whole thing about locking them in a room, starving them to death, is something that is just as inhumane as and despicable as you can think. And remember, when the police came in, there's got to be some corroborating evidence here where this gentleman may not be lying, because when the police arrived, they found this man severely emaciated, weighing just 70 pounds at 5'9". His hair was matted, his teeth were decaying, and he appeared dirty and disheveled. And when you hear these cases of holding someone captive, those are some of the storylines that you will see: starvation, uh, underdevelopment, appearing disheveled and dirty. This is not something that is new. So this stepmother, Miss Sullivan, is going to have to do some extreme explaining to the courtroom based on what these allegations have come about. And there's also physical evidence. As I said, when the police did their search, there was plywood and there were locks on this particular room. And of course, what his physical appearance looked like, the stepson, and he's still alive, and he could tell and bear witness to everything that he said took place over 2 decades. This has to deal, this is completely surrounded around mental health. I believe that the stepmother, if these allegations are correct, is definitely mentally ill. Why she would do this to her stepson, I don't know. There's definitely going to be mental health issues with the stepson, who went through this kind of trauma at the hands of his stepmother, allegedly. I tell you all the time, some of the things that we need to pay close attention to at the top of our wheelbarrow is mental health issues, homelessness, the opioid crisis, helplessness, gun violence, public safety are all pillars that need to be strong and in a healthy place for us to have a healthy society. But if this is correct about this stepmother out of Waterbury, Connecticut, and what she allegedly did to her stepson over 2 decades, she needs to go to jail, and she needs to get mental health treatment, and she needs to probably stay in prison as long as she held this young man captive. Tell me what you think. This has been a Trevor Donald Experience.